I've been handing them out like candy. What's up, YouTube? It's another day with the one and only Billy J. And this is my review of episode 17 of American Idol Season 15, the farewell season. And in this episode, we take it from the top 10 to a shocking top 8. And the contestants sing songs from the Grammys, so that's the theme for this night. The first one up was Dalton Rapattoni, and he sang Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. As you all know, I am a big fan of Dalton Rapattoni, not Daniel. I know for the past few weeks I've been calling him Daniel by accident, but it's Dalton Rapattoni, and I've been a big cheerleader of him, waving my pom-poms. But unfortunately, after this performance, I was left kind of lost. It was by no means a bad performance. I mean, he sang very well, and the performance-wise, it was pretty good. But I didn't feel Dalton in this performance. It was more of a karaoke-type performance from Dalton. And it's definitely not my favorite performance from Dalton. I was very disappointed in this performance, and unfortunately that was a theme for the night, and many contestants that I normally root for and cheer for, their performances this week were disappointing. Next up was Leijon, and he sang Use Somebody by Kings of Leon. Finally, another song by an artist that is not Ed Sheeran. I'll have to give it to Leijon that he actually impressed me this week with his performance. Now, it's by no means the best performance of the night or anything like that, but for a Leijon performance, this would have to be probably my favorite Leijon performance. And in this performance, he showed more range, which is definitely good. My only critique is that in the chorus part, I thought the band was really kind of loud and overpowered his voice, and so he got kind of lost in the chorus part. But overall, it wasn't bad. Leijon is stepping up his game. Next up was Sonica Vade, and she sang Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson. Unfortunately, another disappointment for me in Sonica Vade's performance. It is not her best performance, but I will definitely give it her number 2 performance of all her performances in the live shows. She gave a little bit of attitude in her performance, and I like that. And I totally agreed with the judges and their assessment of Sonica, and the judges have actually been on point. Next up was Mackenzie Borg, and he sang I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me by Whitney Houston. Obviously, Mackenzie didn't attempt to sing this song like Whitney Houston, but unfortunately, I wasn't a huge fan of this arrangement. I wasn't really a big fan of him choosing this song to begin with, but the arrangement was just okay for me. And the arrangement was overproduced, if you ask me. If anything, I think he should have stripped it down to like a piano or even a guitar acoustic version of this song, and it would have been better for him, and without the overproduction and the big band which drowns out his voice. And that acoustic version I think would have been more impactful for Mackenzie. And once again, Mackenzie's performance was disappointing for me. Next up was La Porsha, and she sang Halo by Beyonce. I give this performance a standing ovation. And I loved her new black hair. And I hope that La Porsha is actually this year's Fantasia and not this year's Jennifer Hudson. In my opinion, I think La Porsha is the front runner, and I hope to God next week or whatever other weeks she does not sing Circle of Life. Next up was Trent Harmon, and he sang When a Man Loves a Woman by Michael Bolton. I just love Trent, and you guys know this. I say this week in and week out that how much I love Trent. And one thing is, I am glad that he's working on his facial expressions. He must be watching my videos. Hey Trent, call me. And like LaPorsha, I give this performance a standing ovation. And I totally agree with J-Lo that I could definitely see the final two coming down to LaPorsha and Trent. And if either one wins, I'd be happy with the results. I wouldn't even be mad. And the final performance before the bottom three was Tristan McIntosh. And she sang Go Rest High on That Mountain by Vince Gill. This is the Tristan I've been waiting for. She has definitely stepped up her game. This is a way much better performance than last week. I'd have to give this performance from Tristan her best. See how much better she can be being behind a piano and just singing her heart out. It was a perfect song choice. And like LaPorsha and Trent, I give this performance a standing ovation. I've been handing them out like candy. And finally, we're down to our bottom three with Avalon Young, Olivia Rocks, and Gianna Isabella. And the first one of the bottom three to perform was Avalon Young. And she sang Earned It by The Weeknd. I'm just going to throw it out there that in my opinion, I think Clark Beckham killed this song last year when he did it. Remember this dreamboat? Anyway, back to today. I think Avalon did a great job doing this song. And this song was definitely in her lane and in her comfort zone. And even though Avalon doesn't have the range or the big voice like the other two girls, she definitely has a sense of self, and she has feeling and heart in her performance. Rather than some of the other girls that go up there and they hit the notes and they just sing by the numbers, Avalon is different. She sings with heart and feeling, and you can definitely tell the difference. The next one up was Olivia Rocks, and she sang Trouble by Pink. A much better song choice for her than last week with that terrible Katy Perry song. But I still wish Olivia would have picked a Pat Benatar song. I don't know if any of Pat's songs have been up for the Grammys, but even still, I think she should have chosen a Pat Benatar song. But this is definitely a song in Olivia's wheelhouse. It has that rock edge and much better for her voice. And I agree with J-Lo 100% that the contestants have to pick songs and sing with feeling and heart and present who they are as artists. And all that has to come through in their performance. So they can't just go up there and just sing by the numbers, because that to me is a dead performance. And unfortunately, Olivia kind of had a dead performance in this song. Even though the song was more in her wheelhouse and should have been a great performance, it just didn't have that extra edge. And the final of the bottom three to perform was Gianna Isabella. And she sang If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys. Where did Gianna go? Who is this on stage? I almost didn't recognize her without her curly hair. It was straight and she looked different. She looked amazing. But back to her performance. Gianna does have a big, powerful voice. But at times during this performance, it seemed very shouty. And she sang the song by the numbers, but with very little feeling. And I wish that Gianna had picked songs that meant more to her, that had more feeling, that had feelings associated with them, rather than big, powerful songs to showcase her voice and for her to sing by the numbers. It's like, we got it, Gianna. You have a big voice and you can sing all these songs, but you're not singing with feeling and you're not singing with emotion. You're just up there as a mouthpiece. So it came down to the final three, and the judges picked who was moving forward to round out the top 8, and the judges picked Avalon Young. And I have to agree with the judges in their assessment. especially with the performances that the girls put up tonight. That Avalon definitely killed it in her performance, and the others kind of just did it by the numbers. Olivia, I think, was sick, and her performance was definitely off. But yeah, Avalon definitely did the better job tonight. It was so difficult for me to pick my bottom two, and I'm gonna pick my bottom three, and then I'm gonna pick the two that I think, and in a way I kind of hope, goes home next week. For my bottom three, I'm gonna pick Leijon, Mackenzie Borg, and Sonica Vade. Those are my bottom three for the night, and depending on Sonica, like what Sonica we get, if we get the Evanescence Sonica from last week, or if we get the plain old Sonica lost up on stage, if that Sonica comes back, then Sonica and I think Leijon will go home. But if we get Evanescence Sonica, then she will stay, and Leijon and Mackenzie will both go home. It was extremely tough, and it is extremely tough to pick two people to go home because not everybody did a bad performance. Yes, the kryptonite of the wrong song hit for many of the contestants, but for some, I wouldn't say that that wrong song was the death nail in their coffin. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts. Did the right people go home, or should someone else have gone home? And who's your bottom three for next week? Leave a comment down below. And remember, peace, love, unity, respect. Peace out, guys.